Number 5. The suspicious drilling hole. In 2018, astronauts realized that the ISS was losing air pressure, and after investigating, discovered that someone had drilled a tiny hole in the Soyuz MS-09 capsule, which created more concern. Why would anyone drill a hole in the spacecraft that had transported astronauts to the ISS and back to Earth? The crew sealed the damage with tape and epoxy, and thankfully the air pressure normalized. Afterwards, the astronauts tried and failed to solve the mystery, but not because nobody knew what had happened. Anyone want to take a guess who knows what happened? No, not the Catholic Church, you jokers, and not the US government either. Russia knew and refused to say anything. The Soyuz shuttle belonged to Roscosmos, which is, the state corporation of the Russian Federation responsible for space flights, cosmonautics programs, and aerospace research. After an investigation, the Russian Space Agency developed a severe case of zipped lips, which I would love to say is a shock or surprise, but I've promised to never lie to y'all. The head of Roscosmos did say, "We know exactly what happened, but we won't tell you anything," while speaking to youngsters at a science conference, which is a wild thing to say in my opinion. For safety reasons, NASA would really like to know who drilled the hole in the shuttle. Like, did it happen on Earth or after the craft docked at the ISS? They can't examine the shuttle for themselves because it burned up in the atmosphere, and Roscosmos remains silent. Wow, Russians being secretive on something? Once again, totally flabbergasted from a country with a former KGB agent in charge. Number 4, finding a new species. Before someone gets excited, not an alien species. Well, I have been paying close attention to the David Grush testimonies, and more lately, this isn't that. If you haven't been paying attention to Congress lately, I'd recommend pausing me, researching that, and then we can chat after. Between 2011 and 2016, scientists collected samples from different places in the ISS. 4 of the samples contained mysterious microbes. 3 revealed a new species that was found, among, other places on the dining table, while others came from a research station and an air filter. The 4th was a known microbial species named Mytholorubrum rhodesianum. I tried my best with that, I swear. Pronunciations are hard when videos don't exist saying the words. All 4 were different strains, but they were all related to bacteria on Earth that live in fresh water and soil. More specifically, a group of bacteria that fights off plant diseases and helps foliage to grow. The ISS crew has been growing food for years, and this might have something to do with finding the microbes on the station. A closer study of the unknown species, now named Mytholobacterium ajmali, showed that all 3 strains encourage healthy growth in roots and shoots. Since they can clearly survive in space, the microbes are particularly useful for veggie gardens up there. Hey, it's good to know they all have access to a garden.
Number 3. Blitzars, short for Blitzar bursts, are cosmic events that have intrigued astronomers and astrophysicists. These phenomena represent a unique and intense burst of radio waves originating from deep space, leaving scientists to unravel their mysterious origins. Blitzars are believed to arise from the collapse of massive stars, culminating in the formation of highly magnetized neutron stars, or magnetars. When these magnetars undergo a rapid spin, their intense magnetic fields become distorted, giving rise to a colossal burst of energy in the form of radio waves. These energetic releases can outshine entire galaxies for brief moments. Blitzars are characterized by their extremely short durations, typically lasting only a fraction of a second. This brief but intense burst of energy distinguishes them from other astronomical phenomena, such as pulsars. The energy emitted during a Blitzar event is staggering, often exceeding the total energy output of our sun over its entire lifetime. Our sun's entire lifetime, please let that sink in. This makes Blitzars one of the most energetic events in the cosmos. Blitzars emit primarily in the radio wave part of electromagnetic spectrum. This preference for radio frequencies is a key identifier for astronomers studying these phenomena, allowing them to differentiate Blitzars from other similar events. Detecting Blitzars relies heavily on advanced radio telescopes equipped to capture and analyze radio wave signals. Blitzars share similarities with other cosmic phenomena known as fast radio bursts, or FRBs. While there is ongoing debate about their relationship, some scientists hypothesize that Blitzars might represent a subset of FRBs, linking these two phenomena into the same category. The study of Blitzars provides a unique window into the extreme physics at play within the densest regions of the universe. Understanding the mechanisms driving Blitzar events can offer insights into the behavior of matter under the most extreme conditions. Blitzars, with their precisely timed bursts, have the potential to serve as cosmic chronometers. The regularity of their events, once fully understood, can contribute to the refining of our understanding of cosmic distances and the overall expansion rate of the universe. As radio telescopes continue to advance, providing providing more detailed observations, the mysteries of Blitzars may gradually unfold, unraveling the secrets hidden within the realms of our vast and terrifying universe. Number 2. Quasars and Blazars. Quasars, short for quasi-stellar radio sources, are luminous, energetic astronomical objects. They represent the active cores of distant galaxies, harboring supermassive black holes at their centers. These black holes, with masses millions to billions of times that of our sun, accrete massive amounts of matter, releasing intense radiation across the electromagnetic spectrum. Quasars emit radiation across a broad spectrum, from radio waves to X-rays. Their emission lines, characterized by highly ionized atoms, facilitate their identification. The redshift of these lines, caused by the expansion of the universe, enables astronomers to estimate the quasars' distance and gauge the era in which they thrived. Functioning as cosmic lighthouses, quasars provide valuable insights into the early universe. Their extreme brightness allows astronomers to observe them from immense distances, offering glimpses into the conditions and processes prevalent in the cosmos billions of years ago. Blazars, a subcategory of quasars, are characterized by their intense variability and strong radio emissions. What sets blazars apart is their orientation of their jets, streams of particles ejected from the vicinity of the supermassive black hole. These jets are oriented along our line of sight, resulting in enhanced brightness and variability as relativistic effects amplify the emitted radiation. Blazars are prolific emitters of gamma rays, which again are real things and the most energetic form of electromagnetic radiation. This makes them objects of study for researchers investigating high-energy astrophysics. The extreme conditions near the black hole and within the jets provide unique laboratories for testing theories related to particle acceleration and magnetic field dynamics. The emission from blazars is dominated by synchrotron radiation, a process where charged particles spiral along magnetic field lines. This radiation spans the entire electromagnetic spectrum, from radio waves to gamma rays. Observing blazars across multiple wavelengths is crucial for comprehensive understanding of their physics. Quasars and blazars stand as fascinating celestial phenomena, each offering a unique window into the universe's intricacies. Quasars, with their distinct brilliance, serve as beacons from the early cosmos, aiding astronomers in unraveling the mysteries of our cosmic origins. On the other hand, blazars, with their peculiar jet orientations and high energy emissions, provide a closer look at the extreme astrophysical processes occurring near supermassive black holes. Number 1. Magnetars. Magnetars are one of the most powerful entities in the cosmos, distinct by their intense magnetic fields and formidable energetic output. These exotic celestial bodies, born from the remnants of massive stars, exhibit magnetic fields trillions of times stronger than Earth's, leading to astonishing astrophysical phenomena. Magnetars typically originate from the remnants of massive stars that have undergone a supernova explosion. As the stellar core collapses, it gives rise to a neutron star, an incredibly dense object composed mostly of neutrons. In certain cases, a subset of neutron stars evolves into magnetars due to a unique combination of factors during the collapse. What sets magnetars apart is their exceptionally strong magnetic fields, reaching strengths on the order of 10 to the power of 15 to 10 to the power of 17 Gauss, orders of magnitude greater than other neutron stars. Gauss is a unit of measurement for magnetic fields. I would try to further explain it, but it's just one of those things where the further you go into it, the more separate terms you have to explain, and then we would be here forever. These extreme magnetic fields exert immense forces on the surrounding environment, influencing nearby matter and generating intense electromagnetic radiation. Magnetars are X-ray emitters. The magnetic forces cause the acceleration of charged particles, leading to the production of intense X-ray radiation. Observations of magnetars often involve space-based X-ray telescopes to capture the X-ray emissions that reveal the magnetar's presence. One of the most captivating phenomena associated with magnetars is giant flares. These events release an extraordinary amount of energy in the form of X-rays and gamma rays, in some cases temporarily outshining the entire Milky Way galaxy. Giant flares are believed to result from the rearrangement of the magnetar's ultra-strong magnetic field, leading to a seriously catastrophic release of energy. Magnetars are also known for their experiencing starquakes, a seismic-like activity within their solid crusts. The intense magnetic forces can cause the crust to crack and release large bursts of radiation. These quakes are observed as pulsations from the X-ray emission from the magnetar. The colossal magnetic fields of magnetars have huge impacts on the surrounding space. They influence the behavior of nearby matter, creating intricate magnetospheric structures and impacting the evolution of neighboring celestial bodies. Understanding these interactions contributes to our broader comprehension of the dynamic processes shaping our universe. So you may be wondering, why is this thing number 1? Well, you know all the stuff we just went over about bursts of huge amounts of radiation and magnetic pulses? If no, go back to the beginning of this point, you should really be paying attention. As Magnetar's magnetic field can become so strong that getting closer than 620 miles will dissolve atoms. Dissolving atoms! You know how insane that is? Do you know the theorized impacts that dissolving atoms would have on its own? This one is absolutely crazy, insane, and so flipping cool.
Number 3, 1997 fire. Time to travel back to 1997, the year I was born. On February 24th, the 6 crew members aboard the Russian space station Mir faced significant danger when a fire ignited in an oxygen generating system. The searing flame, lasting several minutes, not only cut off access to one of the 2 Soyuz escape vehicles, but also filled the station's modules with smoke. So, fun fact, fire behaves different in microgravity. It stays put rather than spreading. A kind of plasma bubble that burns hotter and hotter, producing blinding smoke that can swiftly blanket a cabin. The oxygen generator went on burning and spewing blobs of molten metal until finally burning out when all of its fuel was exhausted. Although the narrow confines where the fire occurred made fighting it difficult, the crew prevailed and extinguished the flames with no damage to the station's overall structure. The station's life support systems cleared its atmosphere of the toxic smoke over several hours, with no lasting harm to the crew members. The space station normally housed a resident crew of 3, but because this was during a handover from one long-duration crew to another, the crew size had grown to 6 for the short period of time. This involved Russian cosmonauts Valkyrie and Alexander K, who had been on board since the previous August and were nearing the end of their long-duration mission, and NASA astronaut Jerry, who arrived aboard the space shuttle Atlantis in January, and were joined by the newly arrived trio of Vasily and Alexander of Roscosmos and Reinhold of the German space agency DLR. I swear introducing everyone was necessary, or else I wouldn't have bothered with looking up how to pronounce all their names. Shortly after dinner, as Alexander activated a solid fuel oxygen generator in Mir's Cavant 1 module, the canister ignited, shooting a 3-foot flame with sparks and bits of molten metal across the module and generating a large quantity of dense smoke. The flame blocked the evacuation route to the Soyuz spacecraft docked at the one end of Cavant 1, the vehicle Valkyrie, Alexander, and Reinhold would use in an emergency evacuation. The crew quickly donned their oxygen masks, and Valkyrie began dousing the flame with foam from a fire extinguisher as Jerry held them in place and the other crew members handed him 2 more extinguishers. The flame finally extinguished itself, with Valerie's efforts preventing significant damage, although some of Cavant 1's panels were charred. Over the next several hours, the station's life support system cleared the smoke, and life returned to normal aboard Mir following the worst in-orbit fire incident in the history of spaceflight. During normal Mir operations, the 3 resident crew members' oxygen needs were met by 2 electron oxygen generating units. The units, also now used aboard the International Space Station, generated oxygen through the electrolytic splitting of water, primarily reclaimed from sources aboard the station. When a larger crew inhabited Mir, solid fuel oxygen generators, also known as Vika or by the Russian acronym TGK, supplemented the electrons. Used for decades aboard Soviet and Russian submarines, and for years aboard their space stations, SFOGs burned canisters of solid lithium perchlorate that chemically generated oxygen. Each canister provided enough oxygen to support 1 crew member per day. Although used without incident more than 2,500 times aboard Mir, on this day, the canister just decided, nah, I'm not gonna do my job. Astronauts returned the damaged generator on the next space shuttle mission for evaluation, but the extensive damage made analysis kinda difficult. After 2 years of study, investigators determined that the latex glove mixed with the canister was the cause. So while we might know the actual cause now, it was definitely a weird mystery at the time.
Number 5. Pulsar. Pulsars are highly dense rotating neutron stars that emit beams of electromagnetic radiation along their magnetic poles. These celestial objects were first discovered in 1969. Pulsars form through the gravitational collapse of massive stars during a supernova explosion. The core that remains after the explosion, composed mainly of neutrons, becomes extremely dense. Pulsars typically have a mass greater than that of the Sun, but are compressed into a radius of only a few kilometers, so they're like really heavy but very small. Think like a shrink ray that decreases the space between atoms. The mass stays the same, but the area decreases dramatically. Pulsars exhibit rapid rotation, spinning several times per second. This rotation is a consequence of the conservation of angular momentum during the star's collapse. As they rotate, pulsars emit beams of electromagnetic radiation that are observable when these beams sweep across the Earth, leading to periodic pulses of radiation. The pulse periods of pulsars can range from milliseconds to seconds. The rotational stability is astonishing, with pulsars rivaling the rotational precision of our best atomic clocks. This regularity in their pulses makes pulsars pulsars invaluable tools for various astrophysical studies. They are definitely worth studying from a distance because, radiation. Pulsars exhibit extremely strong magnetic fields, billions of times stronger than Earth's magnetic field. Interaction of these powerful magnetic fields with the pulsar's rotation generates intense electromagnetic radiation. Pulsars are detected through radio telescopes, which capture the periodic bursts of radiation. Since their discovery, pulsars have been observed across various wavelengths, including visible, X-ray, and gamma-ray frequencies, providing valuable insights into their properties and environments. I often have to remind myself that gamma rays are a real thing and not made up. I watch too many movies. Some pulsars exist in binary systems where they orbit around a companion star, like they have a friend they really like to hang out with. The gravitational interaction in these systems can have profound effects, leading to changes in the pulsar's rotation rate and offering a unique opportunity to test theories of general relativity and influence. The precision of pulsar timing has potential practical applications, particularly in space navigation. Pulsar-based navigation systems can provide spacecraft with highly accurate position information, aiding in interplanetary and interstellar exploration. Number 4. Time dilation. Time dilation is a phenomenon predicted by Einstein's theory of relativity, where time appears to pass differently for observers in different gravitational fields or relative motion. In the context of space, time dilation becomes a crucial factor, impacting our understanding of time and its measurement in extreme out-of-this-world conditions. Gravitational time dilation occurs in regions of varying gravitational fields. According to general relativity, time flows more slowly in stronger gravitational fields. This means that clocks in stronger gravitational fields tick more slowly than those in weaker fields. Near massive celestial bodies like planets, stars, or black holes, the gravitational force is stronger, causing time to dilate. This effect has been experimentally confirmed through precise measurements of time on Earth and in satellites. Special relativity introduces another form of time dilation related to velocity. As an object approaches the speed of light, time dilation becomes increasingly significant. This effect is particularly relevant for objects traveling at a substantial fraction of the speed of light. The faster an object moves relative to an observer, the slower time appears to pass for that object. This phenomenon has been demonstrated in particle accelerators, where subatomic particles accelerated to high velocities exhibit longer lifetimes than their stationary counterparts. In space, both gravitational and velocity-related time dilation can coexist. For instance, an astronaut on a fast-moving spacecraft near a massive celestial body would experience a combination of these effects. The interplay between velocity and gravitational fields creates a complex temporal landscape. Think of Interstellar, which honestly doesn't really simplify this much, but maybe it'll help someone. GPS provides a practical example of this interplay. GPS satellites moving at speeds and experiencing weaker gravitational fields in orbit must account for both forms of time dilation to provide accurate location information on Earth. So why is it feared? Time dilation has practical implications for space exploration. As spacecraft travel at significant fractions of the speed of light, the onboard clocks would run slower relative to Earthbound clocks. This means that astronauts on space missions would experience less passage of time compared to people on Earth. Not drastically, it would be fractions of seconds at most. While the effect is subtle for current space travel speeds, as technology advances and humans consider interstellar travel, time dilation becomes a factor that must be carefully accounted for in mission planning.
In number 2, the first space crime. So in 2019, astronaut Anne McClain was accused of committing the first ever space crime. According to her estranged wife, Summer Warden, McClain tried to hack her bank account using the computers aboard the ISS. So McClain acknowledged that she had access to the bank account from space, insisting through a lawyer that she was merely shepherding the couple's still intertwined finances. She was going through quite the separation from Warden when Warden freely spoke to reporters, and McClain faced a career-ending charge and also became, the first active astronaut to be outed for her sexuality. Summer Warden painted the astronaut as a space hacker, but before long, Warden herself was charged for making false statements to federal authorities. Warden claimed she had taken measures to keep McClain out of this particular bank account, which McClain then attempted to hack. However, an investigation found that Warden had never taken any steps to lock McClain out of the account. At the time, McClain was gaining national attention for another reason, but a historically good one. NASA was promoting the coming milestone of an all-female spacewalk, with McClain set to do work outside the space station. But in a sudden switch a few days before the spacewalk, NASA scrapped McClain's role, explaining that there were not enough suits available. A NASA spokesperson, Megan Summer, said the decision about the spacewalk was not influenced by any allegations about McClain and declined to comment about the other issues raised by Ms. Warden. Warden has since been charged with lying about the alleged offense. Go figure. Number 1, 2020 breakdowns. I think we can all agree that 2020 was a crappy year for everyone here on Earth, but it turns out that even astronauts were having a brutal time up in isolation. The stations that are around 20 years old are starting to show their age, and malfunctions included a persistent air leak and the breakdown of a critical life support system. And one cosmonaut has said that the Russian modules in particular were exhausted. Roscosmos reported cosmonauts had repaired their oxygen generator, which is a key life support system in the Zvezda module. The system failed as a Soyuz spacecraft arrived and increased the crew to 6. Where have I said that before? But it was working again the next day, and a second oxygen generator in America's Destiny module kept working normally. In addition, the air already inside the ISS contains enough breathable oxygen for about several weeks. Another problem on the ISS, a pesky little air leak that began in September of 2019, had finally been fixed at the time, so things seemed like they were looking up. One of the folks on board found the source of the leak by observing the trajectory of a floating teabag within the Zvezda module. The temporary fix consisted of some foam rubber and a duct tape-like strip known as Kapton tape. I'm fully aware it's a heck of a lot more durable, but the similarities are way too funny. A similar fix was used in 2018 for a different ISS leak, while experts were working on a more long-term solution, and I think they still are. Once that got fixed, the next problem to come about was a broken toilet that was also located in the Russian segment. Cosmonaut Anatoly Ivashinishin reported the problem to ground controllers, who suspected the issue was an air bubble that formed in the system, and thankfully it was able to be fixed. Had it not been fixed, however, the cosmonauts could have relieved themselves in a toilet located in their Soyuz MS-16 spacecraft, which is currently docked to the ISS. Failing that, they could have politely asked NASA for access to its fancy $23 million toilet, the Universal Waste Management System. A potentially more serious problem emerged later the same evening when the Russian oxygen supply system broke down once again. So the water used to generate the oxygen had run out. But, like the toilet, this problem was evidently also fixed. For reference, the Electron VM oxygen supply system is one of 2 on the ISS, the other being NASA's Environmental Control and Life Support System, ECLSS. NASA's system can sustain the 6-member crew, and there are spare oxygen tanks available should things go really bad. And if that wasn't enough to make anyone curse out Murphy's Law, an oven used to warm up food also broke down. Because of course, no one's gonna want comfort food or anything after that series of chaos. According to a Russian news agency, all problems were resolved over the course of the night. Maybe it's time for extreme home makeover, ISS edition. Just an idea.
Number 5, the wow signal. We want so badly for aliens to talk to us. We want that more than anything. We've been looking for any sign, no matter how small, that there's intelligent life out there just waiting to come find us. And we will take just about anything at this point. A text, an emoji, maybe just a wow.
Wow.
Well, we might have already had that. See if you get wowed by the story of the wow signal. And can we throw just one Owen Wilson wow in here? Just for me. Wow. In 1977, a radio telescope in Ohio picked up a mysterious signal that lasted for 72 seconds. This signal was so strong and unusual that the astronomer who was watching it wrote wow on the printout. No, the aliens didn't send wow, but that would have been way better. This became known as the wow signal, and it remains one of the most interesting pieces of evidence out there in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Now, this signal was detected by the Big Ear radio telescope, which was up there in space looking for radio signals as part of the SETI program. We've talked about that before on the channel. It stands for Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. The signal was very strong and appeared to be coming from a point in the sky near the constellation Sagittarius. I'm an Aquarius personally. The frequency of the signal was consistent with what would be expected from hydrogen atoms that had been accelerated to high speeds. See, I don't know what that means. Despite numerous attempts to detect the signal again, it's never been observed since. This has led to much speculation about its origin and nature. Now, some scientists have suggested that the signal could be proof of extraterrestrial intelligence, some small sign, while there are others, Scullies of the world who might be doubting a little bit. Others have proposed more mundane explanations such as a natural phenomenon or a human-made satellite, but I think we would all deeply prefer it would be aliens. No? It would be a much more interesting end to the story. The wow signal remains one of the greatest mysteries in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. It raises so many questions about the nature of our universe and our place in it. Will we ever solve the mystery of the wow signal? Could it really just have been Owen Wilson and we're radiating back that energy? We may never know. But if you're looking for way more mysteries about space, well, Top 5 Scary is the place to be. We've got more videos on space mysteries than there are stars in the sky. And if space mysteries aren't your jam, we got cryptids, conspiracies, true crime, just about anything freaky you can think up, we've done a video on it. So hit subscribe, hit that little bell as well if you're feeling so frisky, and make sure you don't miss a single scream. But, hey, do that at the end of this video for me, okay? We got way more space mysteries coming up for you right now. Number 4, the Great Attractor. The Great Attractor. I wish that's what they called me. That is not what they called me in high school, though. Do you ever feel like you're being pushed through life, pulled towards a certain path you might not necessarily want? Well, talk to your parents to sort out your life path, but you could be feeling that way because the way our galaxy is being pulled towards something called the Great Attractor, which sounds a lot more ominous than it should, I think. That sounds kind of heavy, so let's get into this. What is pulling our galaxy and many others at faster speeds than you'd think? The Great Attractor is a mysterious gravitational anomaly located in the direction of the Centaurus constellation. It's exerting a gravitational force on our galaxy, you know, where we live, where all our stuff is, and many other galaxies, and its exact nature and location remain uncomfortably unknown. The existence of this thing was first brought up in the 70s, when astronomers noticed that galaxies in our sort of galaxy neighborhood appeared to be moving in a direction that could not be explained by the gravity of nearby objects. Instead, they were being pulled towards a point in the sky in the direction of the Centaurus constellation. Pretty weird. Now, the Great Attractor is thought to be a massive cluster of galaxies, a big galaxy suburb, if you will, but its exact location and composition remain currently unknown. It's obscured by the Milky Way's dust and gas, making it kind of hard to get a good look at it and study. Astronomers have tried their hardest, trying to map the distribution of galaxies, trying to determine its location and structure, but like I said, it's pretty difficult and not too much progress has been made. One of the more unsettling aspects of the Great Attractor I find is that it's located in a region of space known as the zone of avoidance. This is an area of the sky that's difficult to observe due to all that dust and gas like I mentioned before, and it's also what my therapist used to call my bedroom. Number 3, the Black Knight Satellite. The Black Knight Satellite sounds like it's something out of the latest Marvel movie where I think all the heroes and villains will fly up to have their big CGI smash them up, but it's actually the name of a mysterious object that is purported to be orbiting the planet and is host to some very colorful and fun conspiracy theories that we're going to dive into. The Black Knight Satellite conspiracy is a very intriguing and mysterious one related to what we got going on up there. It started back in 1954 when newspapers around the world reported that 2 US Air Force pilots spotted a mysterious object in orbit around Earth. If you follow those reports, the object was about 13,000 years old and appeared to be transmitting radio signals. Now since then there have been numerous alleged sightings and claims of radio signals received from the Black Knight satellite. Some conspiracy theorists believe the object is an ancient alien spacecraft sent to observe and monitor Earth from up high. Others believe it is some secret government satellite, or the really wild ones is that it's a remnant of a lost ancient civilization, the Anunnaki or something if you want to throw your hat into that conspiracy ring. There are, of course, many people who dismiss all of this as just misinterpretations of natural phenomena, which again, extremely possible whenever we're describing anything weird happening in space, but it is very fun to imagine and to play pretend, so we'll keep talking like that. The Black Knight satellite is capturing the imaginations of people who believe in it, and I think that's fun to talk about. There are some wild conspiracists who even say that the US and other governments have a big, secret cover-up about what really is going on there, if it's actually aliens watching from up high or a secret government surveillance project, who knows? Now, one of the more interesting pieces of evidence for the satellite is a series of photographs taken by NASA during the STS-88 mission in 1998. These photographs appear to show a large metallic object orbiting around the Earth, but no surprise, NASA has dismissed these claims, saying the object is nothing more than debris or a reflection from the shuttle's windows. So despite there not really being much evidence, the Black Knight satellite will continue to fascinate us and intrigue us. Number 2, the dark side of the moon. Also known as the far side of the moon, and one of the better Pink Floyd albums, and if you haven't set it up to Wizard of Oz, oh, you just gotta. The dark side of the moon has been a source of fascination and mystery for space enthusiasts and the plot line of one of the worst Transformers movies. One of the worst Transformers movies, as if there's a good one. It's the side of the moon that is never visible from Earth, and as a result, we know very little about it. This lack of knowledge has given rise to all sorts of fun and crazy conspiracy theories, ranging from kind of plausible to totally nuts. One of the more popular ones is that there are alien structures or bases on the dark side of the moon. Maybe some cool relics, like something out of 2001. Some conspiracy theorists believe that NASA and and other space agencies have been covering up evidence of all these things, pulling the wool over our eyes. Again, this is literally the plot of the third Transformers movies where there was Decepticons on the moon. It's around when they started getting really crazy. Conspiracists point to anomalies in photographs taken by missions to the moon, such as the Apollo missions, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, as evidence of these secret alien going-ons on the dark side of the moon. Another theory, and an insane one, is that the moon holds ancient artifacts or evidence of a long-lost civilization. Some people believe that these artifacts could hold the key to unlocking the secrets of the universe or even provide evidence of alien life. Now, if we really want to get out there, some conspiracy theorists believe that there are dark forces or malevolent entities lurking on the dark side of the moon. We're talking like ethereal shadow creatures, old gods that would have kept H.P. Lovecraft up at night. And these things could be responsible for all the unexplained phenomena or UFO sightings or mysterious goings-ons in space that we can't explain. It's all old tentacle gods up on the dark side of the moon. Or it could be perfectly explainable. Explainable? Or it could be perfectly explainable. One of the two. They don't hire me for my intellects, tell you that much. They don't hire me for my brain. They hire me because I say words into a camera. And I don't even do that right sometimes. Number 1, space snakes. I've talked about Story Musgrave a few times on this channel, and I'll probably do it again. Namely because his name is Story Musgrave. That is a wild name for an astronaut to have. That's like a Star Wars guy name. Maybe it's fitting then that this man so vehemently claims that he's run into aliens before. Story is, if you'll pardon this pun, a very storied individual who's been to space multiple times and is now an Imagineer at Disney. So I feel like if aliens were going to appear to anyone as an envoy, it would be an astronaut with ties to the most powerful corporation on Earth. Musgrave is a well-respected astronaut. He's been to space 6 times and he spent 1,200 hours in space, so he might know a thing or two. So when he says he's seeing aliens, we prick our ears up a little bit. According to Musgrave, he saw space snakes that were long black objects that looked like they were swimming around in space. He described them as being about 3 to 4 feet with a metallic sort of biomechanical appearance. Think like H.R. Giger's Alien. And he said he saw these things multiple times. NASA has not really commented on this. They didn't put out a press beacon where they said yay aliens or nay aliens. They just kind of ignored it altogether. Now some experts suggested space snakes could have been debris or ice particles that were reflecting light, while others, and I think this is kind of fun, suggested that it could have just been a hallucination caused by the effects of space flight on the human brain. I feel like that particular brand of skepticism is not one you ever hear much when decrying UFO or alien sightings. We never just say, oh, he was probably hallucinating. Me, personally, I don't know. I'm inclined to trust a guy named Story Musgrave. I trust a man who's up in space so many times. It's intriguing, but it is unverified. He says he's seen them multiple times, which I think is kind of interesting. Is there a higher entity trying to contact him? We may never know, but if we do, Top 5 Scary will be the first one to tell you. I promise you that.
Number 5, Viking lander aliens. A woman who claims to be a former NASA employee claims to have seen evidence of the most monumental cover-up in space history back in 1979 when she saw 2 human figures in spacesuits walk calmly towards the Viking lander across the Martian surface. Going by Jackie, she claimed to have been working for NASA, handling downlink telemetry from the lander, which was the first vehicle to send back images of Mars' surface, when she saw 2 people just walking, just hanging out. As you were. She and 6 colleagues were watching the Viking rover bustling about all over various screens when she spotted, once again, 2 men in spacesuits, which weren't like the bulky suits that they normally used, but they looked kind of protective, and they came over the horizon in that direction of the Viking Explorer. So naturally some folks have claimed that the humans may have just been there to polish the lander's solar panels and yeah, okay. This seems a little odd considering that if there were humans there, presumably they could just fill the lander with petrol instead or take the photographs for themselves. Jackie claims that while the folks were maintaining the equipment, their video feed was suddenly cut off without explanation, and when they rushed upstairs for answers, the door leading to the room controlling the equipment was locked with paper taped over every crevice to avoid anything being seen. Hello, suspicious red flag alert. Yep, waving mine. If you don't understand just how scary cover-ups are and why this is ranked so highly, then I worried about how blasé you are. or how blasé I am. Other theorists claim there were secret landings on Mars in the 60s, and the Apollo landings were actually a cover-up for wider exploration of the solar system. Former CIA pilot John Lear claims that NASA landed on Mars in 1966, and that humans adapted to breathe the thin Martian atmosphere. Nigel Watson, author of the Haynes UFO Investigations Manual, said that these accounts of secret space missions seem to be growing in number, and remind him of the infamous Project Serpo. Yes, I promise, I will sidetrack. With pleasure. In 2005, a contact called Anonymous, who said they worked for the US Defense Intelligence Agency, started sending information about an extraordinary alien exchange program called Project Serpo. Basing his claims on a 3,000-page document written in the late 1970s, he boldly claimed that 6 aliens were recovered from the Roswell crash. Claims that aliens living and or dead were recovered from Roswell are nothing new, but in this case it was stated that an alien survivor from the crash, called EBE-1, helped to organize 12 specially trained people to visit his home planet Serpo in the Zeta Reticuli solar system. This mission occurred in 1965 and they remained there until 1978. During their stay, 2 of them passed away, 2 remained on the planet, and the rest after returning to Earth have passed because of the high levels of radiation they were exposed to on Serpo. I'm just saying, NASA has admitted that there are many things out there we don't know about and that UFOs are real. So what else are they hiding? I swear, between them and the US government, I wish I could file a million Freedom of Information pieces. Number 4, an island mystery. Hey, we all love a good ghost story, right? So how about one involving a ghost island? Alright folks, buckle up. Imagine this, an island the size of Manhattan, nestled near New Caledonia, that has graced nautical charts for over a century, even casting a shadowy pixel on Google Earth. But brace yourselves for the twist, when Australian scientists ventured there in 2012, they uncovered a haunting revelation. It didn't exist. That's right, it is the ghost island of Sandy Island, a phantom that seems to have infiltrated, cartography. Dr. Maria Seton from the University of Sydney pointed out that during the conversion from hard copy charts to digital formats, the Sandy Island era was entrenched. The perplexing tale of Sandy Island has left scientists scratching their heads for generations. The island's Google Map coordinates have performed a vanishing act, only to reappear intermittently, keeping scientists in perpetual bewilderment. Sandy Island, once mysteriously situated between Australia and New Caledonia, made its debut appearance in Captain James Cook's 1776 chart of discoveries in the South Pacific. It was corroborated by the Velocity, a whale hunting ship, later in 1876, and subsequently materialized on 19th century maps in England and Germany. At one point, it was believed to be a 24-kilometer long, 5-kilometer wide landmass. Now, doubts crept in, leading the French Hydrographic Service to erase Sandy Island from its nautical charts in 1979. The climax of this mystery unfolded in November of 2012, when, Australian scientists ventured to the island's supposed coordinates, only to be greeted by nothing but an endless expanse of sea. Their depth measurements, which were around 4,300 feet, dismissed the notion that the island had sunken into the abyss. And just like that, Google Maps removed the illusory island from its digital realm. But if you venture to the exact coordinates, or take a peek at a satellite, you might spot a faint lump in the ocean, a ghostly trace of what once was. The haunting question lingers: did Sandy Island ever truly exist, or was it a phantom born, from a bygone era of cartographic errors and seafaring tales? Let me know what you think in the comments. Number 3, life on Venus. So back in the 1970s and 1980s, the Soviet Union sent several uncrewed missions to study Venus. 10 of these Venera probes landed on the surface of the planet and were able to transmit data and images for a few minutes before succumbing to the planet's extreme atmosphere. In 2012, the Russian news service RIA Novosti reported that, I hope I get this right, Leonid Xanfomality, a scientist who worked on the Venera missions, suggested that the photograph showed living objects moving around on the planet's surface. According to Leonid, certain objects resembled a disk, a black flap, and a scorpion, which emerge, fluctuate, and disappear, referring to their changing location on photographs and traces on the ground. The editors of Solar System Research published an editorial comment and a number of commentary articles from other scientists in their September 2012 publication of Issue 5, Volume 46 of the journal, to be specific. That issue also includes a second article from the guy with the long last name, in which he claims to identify several other life forms and speculates regarding the apparent rich diversity of life around the landing site. It's a lot more rare to get alien spottings from folks outside of the US, and you know what, I feel like NASA is just out there covering them up. So I'm glad this one made it to the interwebs, even though folks have tried to explain it away. Number 2, a pentagram. So, conspiracy theorists, hey, let's start our engines. On the wide-blown steppes of Central Asia, in an isolated corner of Kazakhstan, there's a large pentagram etched into Earth's surface. And now an archaeologist has revealed the source of the mysterious structure. Maybe. The five-pointed star surrounded by a circle located on the southern shore of the Upper Tobol Reservoir shows up very vividly on our favorite place, Google Maps. Now there are almost no other signs of human habitation in the area. The closest settlement is the city of Lysakovsk, about 12 miles or 20 kilometers to the east. The region surrounding, let's just call it L for short, is riddled with ancient archaeological ruins. Bronze Age settlements, cemeteries and burial grounds, many of which have yet to be explored, dot the landscape. So, what is this bizarre symbol, measuring roughly 1,200 feet in diameter, doing on the side of a desolate lake in northern Kazakhstan? Located on the southern shore of, once again, the Upper Tobol Reservoir, the creepy pentagram astounded folks, conspiracy theorists if you will, and Google Earth lovers. Naturally, many online comments have already linked to the site with devil worship, nefarious religious sects, or, denizens of the underworld. And it certainly doesn't help that upon zooming into the center of the pentagram, viewers will see two places highlighted by previous visitors to Google Maps. One spot is called Adam, the other Lucifer, which, if you don't know, that's kind of a name that's often linked to Satan. The pentagram is an ancient symbol used by many non-satanic cultures and religious groups. And by the way, Satanism as a whole is really misunderstood. It has been adopted by Mesopotamians, Pythagoreans, Christians, Freemasons, and Wiccans, just to name a few. The Kazakh pentagram certainly isn't the first odd discovery gleaned from Google Maps. Etched onto the desert floor of New Mexico are actually two large diamonds surrounded by a pair of overlapping circles, which is reportedly the site of a hidden bunker belonging to the Church of Scientology, according to the author of a book on the religious group, which, yikes, no thank you, I don't want to talk about Scientology, I don't need nightmares tonight. An archaeologist who works in the area named Emma Uzmanova told Live Science that the pentagram is just the outline of a park made in the form of a star, since stars were popular figures in the Soviet Union, to which Kazakhstan once belonged. So, sorry guys, no devil worshipping here. Allegedly just a boring old park. I don't know. What do you think? Number 1, weird white lines. And no, I'm not talking about no snow. Back in 2011, the internet was set abuzz by an intriguing discovery, a peculiar structure in the heart of the Chinese desert visible on Google Earth. Yes, we already talked about the pentagram, I know. But it wasn't the only anomaly etched into the earth in that region. As former CIA analyst Alan Thompson pointed out, satellite imagery had been repeatedly ordered to scrutinize this remote area, starting in 2004. So let's dive into some of the bizarre findings that we've found. For starters, there's a mysterious set of characters surrounding a location that some speculate to be related to border guarding. But why such a massive notice for border protection in the middle of nowhere? Next, there's an oddity in the form of an antenna farm or electrical substation, sparking questions about its purpose. And yet another peculiar site is a desert area, unlike its barren surroundings, hinting at something concealed beneath the surface. There's quite a bit more to explore, with suggestions of bunkers or mining operations, while a curious blue shade stands out as seemingly unnatural. Then we encounter another scribbled pattern akin to the initial discovery, raising the question of whether more, mysterious structures remain hidden. The most plausible explanation is a little more grounded, or as grounded as space can be. A technician working at the Mars spaceflight facility named Jonathan Hill claims that the massive lines are used to calibrate spy satellites. By focusing on the grid and its patterns, the satellites can properly orient themselves while in orbit. And honestly, I don't think that's any less disturbing than thinking about aliens or whatnot. This Google Earth-driven journey into the unknown kind of reminds us of the wonders and mysteries our digital age unveils. It's a reminder that sometimes the line between the mundane and the extraordinary blurs.
Number 5. A weird signal from the Milky Way. Astronomers have been studying fast radio bursts, or FRBs, that's a little acronym there to make me sound smart, for decades outside of our galaxy in the hopes of someday making some contact with our extraterrestrial friends and saying hello. Well, decades of research might have paid off when on April 28th, 2020, two ground-based radio telescopes discovered an intense pulse of radio waves within the Milky Way. This event was the first time an FRB had ever been detected within the galaxy, and somehow, despite this burst only lasting for a millisecond, it was apparently almost impossible to miss. I know what all of these words mean for sure. The burst was 30,000 light years away from Earth, so, about a stone's throw up that way, really just a block away on the cosmic scale. It was first discovered by the CHIME, a fancy acronym for the Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment, as well as another project, the STARE, the Survey for Transient Astronomical Radio Emission. I just woke up, man, and I don't really know what these acronyms mean either, but I'm having a lot of fun saying them for you, and I hope you enjoy that. This discovery was notable as well for being the most energetic radio blast these astronomers have ever seen, but it was also one of the closest. Usually when we're talking about radio frequencies all the way up in space, these things are like billions of years of light years away, which does not make them particularly easy to study. You're getting a real far away glance. But if there's one on our doorstep, way easier to focus on. So what is this weird signal coming out of the Milky Way? Is this aliens trying to send a text and the reception's a bit foggy? Here's the trouble. Astronomers don't know for sure just yet. 3 years later, we are still not 100%. There is a small possibility, a disappointing one, that this signal could be man-made somehow and it's broadcasting all the way out here. But if not, this could very well be a promising sign of life from across the galaxy. And if you're looking for more alien content, we have got more UFO sightings than probably any other YouTube channel on this site, and I'm like pretty sure of that. But if space stuff ain't your jam, we got cryptids, monsters, mythologies, true crime, fake crime, stories too good to be true and too true to be good. So click through, stay subscribed, stay screaming, and stay watching this video, okay? All the way to the end. I got a little surprise for you, I promise. Alright, moving on. Number 4, the sounds of Ganymede. Have you ever heard a planet talk? I don't mean like going for a hike and communing with trees and talking to nature or anything like that, man, okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like literally hearing the sounds a planet produces. Now you're gonna have to bear with me because I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but I am not a rocket scientist. I'm barely even a YouTube host. But as I understand, when Juno, a NASA satellite, was orbiting Ganymede, one of Jupiter's moons, NASA discovered that Ganymede had its own magnetosphere. Ganymede was radiating this strange plasma wave of energy that, when it is recorded and played back, sounds absolutely terrifying. This really like tickles the H.P. Lovecraft fan in my heart to be able to hear the sounds a planet is making out in the cosmos. So we're gonna play it for you now. Just take a listen to the audio of this and try to ever sleep again. I dare you. I found that pretty scary personally. I don't know, reminds me of my insignificance in the galaxy. But more than a few people on YouTube pointed out, if you just close your eyes and imagine that that's R2-D2 making all of those noises, it's not particularly scary at all. And I'm probably never gonna be able to unhear that. So is this proof of alien life hiding out inside of Jupiter's moon? Well, not quite. This is a natural phenomenon. It's definitely mysterious though. It makes you think about the size of the cosmos and how small we are on a galactic scale. But other than that, this thing coming from Ganymede is explainable, if not a little bit confusing. I just wanted to toss it like smack dab in the middle of this list about alien speculation to keep things a little fun, fresh, and flirty for everybody. Number 3, the USS Jellyfish. That's a fun name, isn't it? That's kind of fun. The USS Jellyfish kind of calls to mind like a big ship, maybe like a cruise ship, taking an all-included trip through the Bahamas. Well, not to burst your dreams of an island getaway, but the actual USS Jellyfish is a celestial object that astronomers have found that has had them asking questions that are really stinging. That was forced. That was really forced. That was not natural at all. I'm sorry. The USS Jellyfish is a giant mass of plasma that has taken the shape of a jellyfish. At least that's the best way we can see it. It's kind of like an ink blot test. You see what you want to see. It's some 300 million light years away and is a fancy radio signal called a polyphoenix, which is a term scientists use for a radio frequency up in space that they don't really have all the answers about. The giant blob in particular is so unusual that when astronomers initially discovered it, they were writing it off completely, assuming it was an accident or an error in their data. The researcher who first discovered it, one Torrance Hodgson, captured the subject in 2017 using the Murchison Wide Array, an incredibly powerful Australian ground telescope. And when he wrote on the subject, he told his colleagues, ignore the obvious bug in this data. And it was only when they were really pushing that they began to notice there was something more to it than these formal studies earlier suggested. Now, I'm gonna be honest, the full-scale implications of the space jellyfish are a little bit above my pay grade. I can kind of just look at it and be like, well, that's kind of weird. I can read to you the scientists', theories for what they think created the jellyfish, but just know I only kind of half know what I'm talking about here. Scientists believe that the jellyfish was formed over the course of 2 billion years, structured smack dab in the middle between two galaxies that have been spewing out enormous amounts of light and plasma due to intense interactions between black holes and any materials that end up falling around them, eventually creating one gigantic gigantic cosmic jellyfish floating around in the astral planes. Number 2, something unusual. Recently, a team of astronomers discovered something unusual while they were mapping out the universe, which is my favorite start to a point I have ever read on this channel. You guys know when you're mapping out the universe, then you accidentally see something unusual? Ugh, I absolutely hate when that happens. Anyway, this mysterious unusual object floats about 4,000 light years away, very close by. You can practically wave and see it. And it's pulsing strange bursts of energy out of it roughly every 20 minutes on the dot. You can set your watch to this. Somebody up in space forget to turn the oven timer off? Natasha Hurley Walker is an astrophysicist from the Curtin University in Australia, same university that discovered that jellyfish coincidentally, and was the leading researcher on this study. She said in a public statement that this object was appearing and disappearing over a few hours during our observations, and said that it was completely unexpected. It was kind of spooky for an astronomer because there's nothing known in the sky that does that. Let me take over for a second right here and tell you right now, on Top 5 Scary, if you can't tell what something weird is in the sky, it's an alien. Okay? You got an alien on your hands. So we have to assume that's what's going on here. Alongside this bizarre cosmic alarm clock, the team discovered a fossil plasma source, something that was created by powerful blasts of a bygone black hole that has since faded into the darkness. And I loved saying that. A black hole that has faded into the darkness? That's poetic. Does that not sound like where the heart of like cosmic evil in the universe would be? Does that not sound a little bit like it's something out of a Lovecraft or Stephen King book? A fossilized plasma created by the blast of a black hole that has faded into the darkness? That sounds like something a guy in a black robe would read out as part of a prophecy for the end of the universe. And number 1, Proxima Centauri. If there was ever going to be concrete signs of alien life, I think it would definitely come from a place called Proxima Centauri. Listen to that. That already sounds like it's from like a great Deep Space Nine episode. Recently, astronomers exploring for signs of life beyond Earth discovered a currently unexplained radio signal that was broadcasting from Proxima Centauri, a small red star roughly 4.2 million light years away. That's like right next door, man. If this wasn't exciting enough for you, there's radio signals coming from a strange star that no one can explain seemingly. And surrounding these stars is a planet that NASA believes has a temperate and rocky surface just like our beautiful Earth, leading to some wild speculation all around. The project is dubbed Breakthrough Listen, very cool code name, and it was a decade-long search for alien broadcasts from the nearest million stars, just in case anybody's been trying to reach us about our planet's extended warranty. This radio signal in question has been formally dubbed BLC-1 when referred to scientifically. Now, this signal was first discovered in May 2019. It's not quite the be-all and end-all proof of aliens just yet, as much as I want it to be. Sophia Sheik, the team member leading Breakthrough Listen, says she suspects that the broadcast could end up being human in origin somehow, theorizing that it could be something as simple as like a plane traveling overhead their equipment or faulty electronics somewhere getting wires tangled. Would that not be beyond embarrassing if you're a group of scientists, astronomers, and you think you've found proof of alien life, but all it is somebody forgot to take their phone off airplane mode and they've just been getting notifications for Candy Crush and it's messing with your equipment. Still, it's something to research, and it's still one of the most exciting things to happen in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence in a long time. And I hope we keep looking for extraterrestrial intelligence out there, because there sure ain't anybody down here. I messed up that joke.
Number 5, Space Camp. Starting this list off, we arrive at the Apollo 8 mission. Well, 7 other missions before it, but it was a little rocky back then, you know? The early days. But Apollo 8 was the first fully crewed spacecraft to leave low Earth orbit and the first human spaceflight to reach the moon. Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders, aka the crew, orbited the moon 10 times without landing. December 21st, 1968. The Apollo 8 astronauts returned to Earth on December 27th, 1968. Now, here's the scary part. Apparently, while they were up there, they claimed to have seen some pretty strange stuff. Some weird lights, glowing moving balls, and apparently bonfires all over the moon. What? Yeah, apparently the men said it looked like smoke and small bonfires when visiting the far side of the moon. When the capsule passed behind the moon for 45 minutes, the crew claimed to have seen multiple lights coming from the surface. And thankfully, NASA even transcribed what they heard. Borman says, bonfires. Anders says campfires. All in all, we have astronauts puzzled at what they're seeing. 7 months later, Apollo 11 is performing a mission orbiting the moon and captures apparently a bunch of things that are out of the ordinary. Buzz and Collins both claim to have seen things like lava flowing, aliens parked on craters, to even small bonfires and flickers on the surface. Of course, there's no oxygen on the moon, so what could have caused the fire and the smoke? Number 4, Airbuds. As always, dudes, if you dig what we do here on Top 5 Scary, hit that thumbs up button or leave a comment down below. It really helps us out. What's the biggest NASA secret you know of? Let me know down below. I'll check it out. When we think about astronauts that have spent their fair share up in space, we can't forget the experiments in the early stages of both the Soviets and the American space programs. It truly was a race, pushing the limits faster and faster, bigger and bolder kind of stuff, and with that omelet comes a couple broken eggs. We often forget that NASA has sent its fair share of animals up there as well, and of course, unfortunately, not many of them have returned back to us. Yeah, very sad. Science is one of those things where its benefits are tremendous, but the hypothesis parts sometimes are a little dark and grim. We remember Laika, the space dog, and her 103-minute cosmic journey aboard Sputnik 2, but let's not forget the infamous Able and Baker. This was the American version of Laika, only a year later too. 1959, the United States launched one female rhesus monkey named Able and one female squirrel monkey named Baker into space. This mission lasted only 15 minutes and they both safely returned back home. Their predecessors, not so lucky. See, a couple of animals have yet to return from their space mission. Mice, geckos, dogs. It was a different time. To announce their successful flight, NASA unveiled Able and Baker to journalists in the same room where just a month prior they had introduced the Mercury 7 crew as the country's first human astronauts. Big jumps, right? Sadly, after the training and missions, both animals passed. But you can visit them at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum where they're both on display. A little dark and grim, but we pay homage. Number 3, Valkyrie. NASA has been experimenting with a little bit more tech in the last 20 years. A little bit more robotics instead of fitting humans into a capsule. Seems like this next project has been in the works for some years, but under silent lock and key until recent years. Valkyrie is the name of the NASA's new semi-secretive AI project. Taken from Norse mythology, Valkyrie is designed to be a robust, rugged, and entirely electric humanoid robot capable of operating in degraded or damaged human-engineered environments. The NASA R5, aka Valkyrie, is the size of a full human adult with a 7-digit price tag, putting it a little bit more expensive than the very terrestrial Tesla bot. This robot was originally built for the 2013 DARPA Robotics Challenge. The 6-foot, 300-pound piece of machinery represents the future of space exploration. It's the first step towards a goal of human colonization on Mars and other planets in our solar system. Dude, this is nuts! High hopes for the robot. However, currently tethered to the ceiling of a warehouse in Lowell, Massachusetts. The Lowell model is one of 4 units produced by NASA. The space agency held on to one robot for its own purposes and awarded 2 to the research of Northwestern and MIT, while the 4th lives in Scotland's University of Edinburgh. The 4 models are being tinkered and tailored on as we speak. Long story short, we've reached a peak in space travel where maybe living things don't have to make it or break it anymore. To reduce hazards and prevent any more life being lost or altered for science, the Valkyrie is an option for NASA to search very hazardous environments while keeping a pretty safe distance while doing so. Number 2, ice cold. We all know about Jupiter's moon Europa. I was like 18 when I found out about all the planets' moons in our solar system. Yeah, did you know that Jupiter has 79 moons? Like 79. Yeah, we have 1. Like, we know nothing, Jon Snow. Well, maybe we know something, because apparently we've found traces of water on a couple different rocks now. Europa, the 6th largest moon in our solar system. It was discovered in 1610, and ever since then, we've kind of wondered what's on it. In 1979, the 2 Voyager spacecrafts passed through the Jovian system, providing the first hints that Europa may contain liquid water. The ground-based telescopes on Earth, along with the Galileo spacecraft and telescopes, have increased scientists' confidence for a European ocean. Yeah, cue NASA's Sesame program. Scientific exploration subsurface access mechanism for Europa. Sesame will not drill, however, but actually thaw its way under the icy ocean, and from there will operate small probes to conduct an array of research on biology, sediment, gases, and of course what we're all hoping for, humanoid mermaid-looking aliens. However, the part that really has NASA's attention is all of the tectonic activity beneath said icy shelf, meaning that somewhere in the middle, there's warm water flowing under with currents. Yeah, creepy. In 2011, NASA awarded Stone Aerospace $4 million to fund Phase 2 of Project Sesame. Phase 2 of the project consisted of testing the cryobot in Alaska in 2015. Phase 3 of the project will use a swarm of tiny robots the size of cell phones to whisk through the water beneath the thick icy shelf of Jupiter's moon looking for evidence of alien life. The tiny robots would be released underwater, swimming far from their mothership to explore a new world. Basically, the cryobot melts its way through the subglacial lake, collects samples, resurfaces, and comes back home. Yeah, seems like an alien movie plot just ready for scripting, huh? And number 1, Artemis 1. So we haven't been back to the moon since 1972, but why? Well folks, we're going back. And soon, like 2 weeks soon. Yeah, I didn't know either, as I'm a millennial who doesn't watch the news on TV. We're going back to the moon, people, but not the Apollo program anymore. No, we've changed the name to another Greek name. They're twin, Artemis. Apparently, Artemis 1 will be the first in a series of increasingly complex missions to build a long-term human presence on the moon for decades to come. Oh yeah, we're staying, like building forts and stuff. The primary goals for Artemis 1 are to demonstrate Orion's systems in a spaceflight environment and to ensure a safe re-entry, descent, splashdown, and recovery. Basically like the full shebang. Yeah, not taking any more risks, huh NASA? Safety first kind of deal, I like it. Not a long mission too. September 27th they're supposed to launch, and splash back down here in November, like 38 days long. Nice little quick one. And then reevaluate and select the people. Yeah, dude, this is sick.
Number 5, untethered astronaut. On August 22nd, 2022, NASA unleashed a chilling photograph into the vast abyss of doom that is Twitter. A snapshot that left the world collectively gasping for breath. The haunting image featured an untethered astronaut suspended in the inky blackness of space, seemingly mere inches above Earth's fragile horizon. It was a bone-chilling glimpse into the unforgiving void that lies beyond our protective planet. The first thing that strikes you is the astronaut's stark isolation. Against the backdrop of space and our familiar blue and white world, they appear as a minuscule, fragile figure. No lifeline, no tether connecting them to the safety of the International Space Station, just a solitary figure against the cosmic abyss. This photograph instantly transported viewers to the unsettling reality of the astronaut's existence, a realm where the nearest human is not just out of reach, but out of sight. The astronaut's visor was a window into their terrifying predicament. It reflected the expanse of space, capturing the stars that stretched endlessly into the distance. The visor encapsulated the astronaut's vulnerability, a thin layer of protection against the merciless vacuum beyond. It was a cruel juxtaposition, the vast, boundless cosmos mirrored in the helmet of a lone human. The background was a canvas of darkness, punctuated only by the distant stars. Space in this photograph was not the romanticized expanse of exploration we see on movies and TV, but a chilling, desolate void. It was a place where sound ceased to exist, where the cold seeped through every inch of the astronaut's suit, and where the laws of nature showed no mercy. This overwhelming sensation was one of isolation. The image forced viewers to confront the solitude of space in its rawest form. The astronaut, a mere speck in the abyss, was a poignant reminder of our fragility in the grand scheme of the universe. In the end, this terrifying photograph served as a stark testament to the courage and determination of those who venture beyond the bounds of Earth. It encapsulated the stark, unyielding nature of space, where the line between survival and oblivion was razor thin. It was a haunting glimpse into the cold expanse of the cosmos, where humans are but fleeting visitors in a realm that remains indifferent to our existence. I just wonder how they got him back. Number 4, Face on Mars. The enigmatic face on Mars is an iconic image that has captivated imaginations, fueled conspiracy theories, and sparked debates about extraterrestrial life for decades. This unsettling photograph was captured by NASA's Viking 1 orbiter on July 25, 1976, and it depicts a peculiar mesa on the surface of the red planet, bearing an uncanny resemblance to a human face. The first glance at this photograph immediately triggers a sense of dread and intrigue. There, on the barren Martian landscape, lies what appears to be a colossal visage gazing into the depths of space. Its symmetrical features, shadowed eyes, and distinct mouth give it an eerie humanoid quality that is hard to dismiss as mere coincidence. The sense of unease deepens when one considers the context. Mars, often referred to as the Red Planet, is a desolate world with an atmosphere too thin to support human life. The place where desolation and isolation reign supreme. In this stark Martian desert, the presence of a face, a symbol of humanity, is unsettling, as it is a relic of forgotten civilization, a chilling testament to the mysteries that lie beyond our earthly realm. The ambiguity surrounding the origins of this formation adds to its terror. While scientific consensus attributes the face on Mars to the play of light and shadows on a naturally occurring mesa, its undeniable resemblance to a human face fuels speculation that it might be something more. Some have suggested it's an ancient monument, a remnant of an advanced Martian civilization that once thrived but ultimately vanished into cosmic obscurity. The fear also stems from the implications of such a discovery. If the face on Mars were indeed a deliberate creation, it would raise profound questions about the existence of intelligent life beyond Earth. It would shatter the perception that humanity is alone in the universe, opening a Pandora's box of existential questions and fears about our place in the cosmos. In the end, the face on Mars serves as a haunting reminder of the boundless mysteries that space exploration continues to uncover. Whether it's a mere trick of light and geology, or an eerie testament to ancient extraterrestrial civilizations, this iconic image challenges our understanding of the universe and our place within it. It stands as a symbol of the unknown, a symbol of cosmic terror that lingers in the depths of our collective imagination. Number 3. Eye in the Hourglass Nebula. The last thing anyone wants to see when looking into a telescope is space looking back at you. But in 1996, a haunting image was captured. The Hourglass Nebula, a celestial marvel situated some 8,000 light years away from Earth in the constellation Musca, has long been a subject of fascination among astronomers and stargazers alike. It's renowned for its mesmerizing figure-8 shape, but in a haunting image captured by the Hubble Space Telescope, an otherworldly anomaly emerges. A vivid, emerald green eye seemingly gazing out from the very heart of the nebula. This unearthly spectacle presents an unsettling paradox. The serenity of the nebula's symmetrical form contrasting with the eerie intensity of the central eye. The hourglass shape itself, formed by the powerful winds of a dying star at its core, stretches outwards in perfect symmetry, an ethereal ballet of interstellar gases and dust. Yet, within this cosmic dance of creation and destruction, the eye stands as a stark enigma, a watchful alien presence amidst the celestial choreography. The eye's unmistakable green hue, reminiscent of Earth's verdant forests, adds to the disquieting intrigue. It appears almost sentient, as if the nebula itself were a cosmic being, surveying the cosmos with a gaze that transcends time and space. Its radiant emerald glow casts an eerie luminescence across the surrounding nebular regions, imbuing them with an otherworldly ambience. The sense of haunting is amplified by the knowledge that the Hourglass Nebula is a nursery for new stars. While its outer appearance suggests tranquility, this is, in fact, a cosmic cauldron where new celestial bodies are born, and older stars meet their fiery ends. Juxtaposition of creation and annihilation, embodied by the figure-8 shape and the eye at its core, underscores the profound mysteries of the universe. This haunting image evokes contemplation about the cosmic forces at play in the universe, reminding us of the fragility of life and the relentless cycle of birth and death in the cosmos. It challenges our perceptions of the familiar and the alien, inviting us to question the boundaries of what we consider possible. In the end, the Hourglass Nebula's haunting image, with its central green eye, is a testament to the vast, enigmatic beauty of the universe. It's a glimpse into the profound and the eerie, a window into the cosmos that both enchants and unsettles, leaving us with a sense of wonder and cosmic dread as we ponder the mysteries that lie beyond the stars. Number 2. Bones on Mars. The discovery of bones on Mars is a revelation that sends shivers down the spine, challenging our fundamental understanding of the universe and igniting existential questions about the possibility of extraterrestrial life and its implications. In a haunting image, captured by a rover exploring the Martian surface, an eerie collection of bone-like structures is sprawled across the rusty red landscape. The image is a stark reminder of the desolation of Mars. Its barren, windswept terrain is devoid of any signs of life as we know it. Yet, here, unmistakably, are what appear to be skeletal remains, relics of a life form that once inhabited the red planet. The bones are bleached white, standing in stark contrast to the Martian soil, as if they were placed there deliberately to be discovered. The mere presence of bones on Mars challenges the boundaries of our understanding. How did these remains come to be? Are they the remnants of an ancient Martian species, now long extinct? Or is there a more sinister explanation? The unanswered questions weigh heavily on the mind, casting a pall of dread over the discovery. The image is particularly terrifying because it raises the specter of an unknown cosmic predator. The bones seem to suggest a creature with a skeletal structure, not dissimilar from earthly animals, and the thought of an alien predator lurking on Mars sends a shiver down the spine. What else lies hidden beneath the Martian surface, waiting to be unearthed by intrepid explorers? Furthermore, the discovery of Martian bones ignites fear about contamination. If these bones are indeed remnants of ancient life, what potential threats do they pose to future human exploration on Mars? Could they carry diseases or microorganisms that might jeopardize our efforts to colonize the red planet? Ultimately, the image of bones found on Mars is a chilling reminder of the unknown and the unknowable. It forces us to confront the limits of our knowledge and the eerie possibilities that exist beyond our terrestrial realm. It's a haunting glimpse into a cosmic enigma, a puzzle with pieces that are simultaneously fascinating and terrifying. And it leaves us with a sense of awe and cosmic dread as we grapple with the mysteries that Mars continues to unveil. I just wonder what those bones belong to. I hope not a dog. Dogs should never die. And at number 1, Plutonian slugs. Yeah, you heard that right. There might be slugs on the black sheep of the solar system. The discovery of horrifying space slugs on Pluto is a nightmarish revelation that defies all expectations of the icy dwarf planet. In an image captured by a deep space probe sent to explore the outer reaches of our solar system, the cosmic horror unfolds before our eyes. A colony of grotesque, gelatinous creatures resembling monstrous slugs, lurking on the distant world of Pluto. The image is nothing short of terrifying. Against the frigid backdrop of Pluto's desolate landscape, these extraterrestrial slugs writhe and slither. Their amorphous, translucent bodies seem to defy the laws of biology as we understand them. Each slug is riddled with grotesque, undulating appendages that move with a sickening rhythm, giving them an otherworldly, repulsive appearance. The very notion of life on Pluto is a chilling paradox. The planet's extreme cold, lack of atmosphere, and its location on the outer fringes of the solar system make it one of the most inhospitable places in our celestial neighborhood. That these nightmarish creatures not only exist, but thrive in such a hostile environment is the stuff of cosmic horror. The behavior of these space slugs adds to the terror. They seem to feed on some unknown source, perhaps subsisting on elements unique to Pluto's surface. Their movements are slow and deliberate, and their inscrutable motives leave us with an impending sense of dread. Are they the sole inhabitants of this frozen wasteland, or are they part of a larger, more sinister ecosystem that is yet to reveal itself? Furthermore, the presence of these creatures raises troubling questions about the potential consequences of interstellar contamination. Could these space slugs harbor deadly pathogens or alien microorganisms that might pose a threat to future missions to Pluto or other celestial bodies? The fear of unknowingly unleashing a cosmic menace upon our world adds an extra layer of dread to the discovery. I, for one, think we should never even try going to Pluto, if there really are slugs there. They're gross enough here on Earth, could you imagine how slimy alien ones are? I'll give you a hint, very slimy. 5. Eridanus supervoid. In the vast tapestry of the cosmos, where darkness and light dance in eternal equilibrium, few enigmas strike a chord of primal fear as profoundly as the Eridanus supervoid. Nestled within the fabric of space, this colossal expanse of emptiness defies comprehension. A yawning chasm of cosmic proportions that challenges our understanding of the universe and awakens a sense of trepidation in even the most intrepid of minds. Stretching across more than 1 billion light years, the Eridanus supervoid is an awe-inspiring testament to the unfathomable vastness of space. Situated in the southern hemisphere, its existence was first revealed through an analysis of cosmic microwave background radiation, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang. In this ghostly echo of creation, scientists identified an unsettling absence, a region where the energy and matter that compose our universe seem conspicuously absent. This void, this cosmic abyss, dubbed the Eridanus supervoid after the constellation in which it resides, is the largest known thing in our entire universe. Yet, it is not merely the size of the supervoid that chills the soul, but the profound question it raises. Could this colossal emptiness be a glimpse into an alternate reality, a rupture in the cosmic continuum? Some theories suggest that the supervoid could be a remnant of a collision with another universe, a scar left by a parallel existence. Others postulate that it might be a consequence of exotic phenomena, perhaps influenced by dark energy, which I'll get into later, or other arcane forces that defy our current understanding of physics. There's something truly terrifying about this dark spot in our universe, a place where no stars, no planets, no meteors, no aliens, or anything dare exist within the vast emptiness of the Eridanus supervoid. With no scientific reason for why this happens, one can only ponder what terrors beyond our comprehension are hidden there. But who knows, maybe we just need a really strong flashlight. Next up at number 4, zombie stars. In the Stygian expanse of the cosmos, where stars are born in fiery splendor and eventually fade into eternal darkness, a phenomenon of unspeakable horror lurks: the haunting specter of zombie stars. These celestial abominations, born from the remnants of once mighty supernovas, defy the natural order, clawing their way back from the abyss of death to wreak havoc upon the universe. Zombie stars are formed from the remains of dead stars, somehow coming back to life and using the energy of the supernova to begin life anew. Much like actual zombies, these undead stars are also very dangerous, becoming incredibly volatile from its rise from the dust. They even imitate the flesh-eating part by absorbing energy from other stars to elongate their lifespans and retain stability. The very existence of zombie stars puts our entire understanding of space into question, making it one of the most mysterious discoveries on this list. Picture a desolate graveyard of stellar remains, where the remnants of exploded stars should have been laid to rest. But in this chilling scene, the grave robbers of the cosmos, zombie stars, rise from the cosmic dust and gas, reanimated by dark sorcery. I mean, not actual sorcery, but it sounds cool. These undead stars are born of cataclysmic explosions, remnants of once brilliant suns that met a violent end in the inferno of a supernova. Yet, where one might expect only darkness and silence, a malevolent force twists the cosmic narrative. These zombie stars, devoid of their former brilliance, rise from the ashes with a grotesque mockery of life, an embodiment of the uncanny and unexplained. Just imagine the spectral glow of these zombie stars, casting an otherworldly dread upon their surroundings. Their feeble glimmers are tinged with an unsettling hue, reminiscent of the sickly pallor of death. No longer conforming to the laws of stellar evolution, these undead remnants linger in an eerie state of existence, like phantoms haunting the cosmic night. As the universe expands, these zombie stars shamble through the galactic graveyard, defying the laws of nature. They distort the fabric of space-time around them, creating gravitational anomalies that send ripples of unease through any celestial bodies that dare venture too close. Their gravitational pull, far stronger than their dim luminosity suggests, creates a sense of impending doom for any unfortunate object caught within their grasp. In the cold emptiness of space, the dark energy of these zombie stars infects the very essence of the cosmos, leaving astronomers and cosmologists alike to grapple with the implications of their existence. Are they harbingers of a greater cosmic malevolence? The will of God? Or do they hint at extraterrestrial forces lurking in the shadows with power beyond the limits of human comprehension? No matter what they are, I think a lot of us should be more like zombie stars. Even upon facing death, these things just get back up and start shining in the sky all over again. Truly the Rocky of cosmic objects. Boom, bet you didn't expect to be inspired today, did you? Moving on to number 3, Pulsars. In the cryptic expanse of space, the universe conceals a horror beyond imagination. The Pulsar, a celestial enigma that strikes terror into the hearts of astronomers and cosmologists. Pulsars, the cosmic lighthouses born from the fiery death throes of massive stars, possess a sinister power that stretches far beyond their mesmerizing beauty, wreaking havoc on magnetism and Earth's delicate geomagnetic balance. They're formed when massive stars run out of fuel and collapse. As a result, the stars explode, creating what we call neutron stars. When these stars spin rapidly, they create a pulsar. These spectral remnants of stellar collapse emit beams of radiation that pierce the cosmos with an unwavering pulse. These mesmerizing flashes, while captivating, belie their true nature as harbingers of doom. The immense energy unleashed by pulsars has the potential to disrupt the magnetic fields of celestial bodies unfortunate enough to be within their reach, which is pretty hard to avoid because some pulsars travel through space at millions of miles per hour. Pulsars usually radiate radio waves, however, not all of them do. Some pulsars actually release gamma rays, which are far more deadly concentrated blasts of radiation. They're not just single gamma ray bursts either. A pulsar releases a fan of these dangerous waves. On top of this, pulsars are so incredibly dense that they're just a nudge away from becoming black holes, making them true forces of nature within the depths of space. But the greatest threat it holds is its magnetism. The chilling effects of pulsars on magnetism become even more ominous when considered in the context of Earth. Our planet's magnetosphere, a fragile shield protecting us from the cosmic maelstrom is susceptible to the influence of these cosmic menaces. Pulsars, with their intense magnetic fields and dead radiation, can perturb Earth's magnetic environment, triggering geomagnetic storms of unprecedented magnitude. These storms, like cosmic tempests, unleash a torrent of charged particles that can disrupt power grids, communication networks, and even jeopardize the lives of astronauts in orbit. Perhaps the most haunting connection between pulsars and Earth's magnetic turmoil is the chilling tale of the Carrington event. In 1859, the Sun unleashed a titanic solar storm, now known as the Carrington event, which sent a barrage of charged particles hurtling towards Earth. The planet's magnetic field was thrown into disarray, resulting in awe-inspiring auroras dancing far beyond their usual polar confines. Telegraph systems erupted in flames, casting a sinister glow upon the terrestrial chaos. The Carrington event serves as a stark reminder of the potent interplay between celestial horrors and Earth's delicate magnetic balance. It offers a glimpse into the catastrophic potential of pulsars and other cosmic phenomena that could plunge our technological world into darkness and chaos. The unnerving specter of history repeating itself on a grander and more devastating scale looms like a shadow over our interconnected society. Nowadays, such a storm could shut down all technology on Earth, putting our lives at a complete standstill. This could have cataclysmic effects on society, the economy, and life as we know it. And that was just the sun. If a pulsar were to simply fly by our solar system, millions of miles away, it could send us into a total dark age, which would mean no more YouTube, you guys. So yeah. Big danger. Fortunately, NASA has yet to observe a pulsar anywhere near us, but when the time comes, y'all best be prepared. And at number 2, dark matter. And friends? Within the depths of the cosmos, where galaxies dance and stars ignite the heavens, there lies a darkness more unsettling than the absence of light itself. This shadowy abyss is populated by 3 enigmatic, undetectable, and deeply unsettling entities: dark matter, dark energy, and the truly terrifying strange matter. These cosmic enigmas, lurking beyond the edges of human comprehension, cast a pall of dread over our understanding of the universe. Dark matter, that elusive specter that defies detection, exerts its invisible grasp on galaxies, holding them together in cosmic waltz. Its presence is felt through its gravitational influence, yet its true nature remains tantalizingly beyond our grasp. It surrounds us, permeates the cosmos, and yet remains utterly inscrutable. Its enigma whispers that there are realms of existence, hidden from our senses, that harbor terrors we cannot fathom. Dark energy, an even more sinister force, propels the universe to expand at an accelerating pace, defying the gravitational pull that should be drawing it together. It is a mysterious anti-gravitational energy, and its presence only deepens the cosmic mystery. The thought of an unseen force pushing the universe further apart, leaving galaxies adrift in an ever-darkening void, evokes a creeping sense of isolation and insignificance. Now I'm sure you guys have heard of the first 2, but what you might not know about at all is strange matter, a dread-inducing concept that dwells at the fringes of theoretical physics. This sinister substance, if it even exists, challenges the very fabric of reality itself. Now, I'm no astrophysicist, so know that I'm going to be getting some things wrong. But strange matter is hypothesized to be a form of highly unstable, yet also incredibly stable, quark matter, an even more exotic and unstable version of the matter we know. If strange matter were to come in contact with normal matter, it could initiate a nightmarish chain reaction, converting all it touches into more strange matter. The result would be an unstoppable cascade, a cosmic contagion devouring entire planets, stars, and perhaps even galaxies in its insatiable hunger. Imagine a universe in which strange matter is unleashed, a grotesque plague consuming everything in its path, reducing the cosmos to a featureless expanse of the unknown. This dystopian nightmare challenges the very foundations of reality, reminding us that the universe's most unsettling secrets may lie in the most fundamental building blocks of existence. Has yet to be found in our observable universe, but its existence remains one to be feared. The name is pretty stupid though. And finally, at number 1, the Great Attractor. This enigmatic force concealed within the vast cosmic web exerts an insidious gravitational pull, drawing galaxies, planets, stars, and even other black holes towards its heart with an irresistible pull. Yet, its nature remains shrouded in darkness, its true identity eluding our most relentless pursuits. The Great Attractor's eerie power is not to be underestimated. Galaxies, vast and ancient, dance to its tune, surrendering their trajectories to its sinister grasp. It stands as a gravitational anomaly, a cosmic lodestone whose immense mass defies explanation and comprehension. Its siren song lures galaxies from all directions, weaving an intricate tapestry of cosmic motion that defies the very laws of the universe we thought we knew. The worst part is, we can't even see it. It's obscured by the Milky Way's galactic plane, lying behind what is called the zone of avoidance, meaning there's no good way of observing it. Astronomers were only able to spot it when they noticed that just about everything in the universe was slowly making its way towards the Great Attractor. Scientists grapple with the unsettling notion that this colossal force could dictate the fate of our local universe. Its gravitational tendrils tug at the fabric of space-time, warping trajectories and redefining cosmic destinies. The Great Attractor whispers of uncharted territories, promising a journey into the heart of cosmic darkness, where the laws of physics may warp and twist like a feverish nightmare. As we peer deeper into the void, attempting to unveil the Great Attractor's true form, we are confronted by a chilling realization. The universe's most monstrous secrets remain veiled, forever beyond our grasp. Well, maybe not forever. The Great Attractor stands as a cosmic specter, a harrowing reminder of the limits of human understanding, inviting us to confront the terrifying unknown that lurks just beyond the fringes of our knowledge. In its presence, we are humbled by the realization that the universe, with all its splendor and terror, is a realm where mysteries may forever elude our grasp.
Number 5 on this list is danger. Maybe this number on the list would be better titled risk versus reward, honestly, because that's basically what it boils down to. Space travel is by far the most dangerous form of travel that we have. Like, everyone has heard someone tell them before that whenever you get in a car, you are taking a risk, which is true. You could get in a car accident at any point in time, but a lot of times those car accidents result in little fender benders and for the most part nothing major. If your space shuttle breaks down though, like even if a tiny little thing goes wrong, then that is very likely the end of your entire existence. And obviously we've seen this happen before. Several space shuttles have exploded or malfunctioned, and astronauts have in fact died because of it. There's always going to be an immense danger when someone steps into a space shuttle and they're going to be risking their lives. Now, if the reward was incredible, then it might be worth it, but as we're going to talk about later in this video, the reward might not be that great. Like, at the end of the day, I truly don't think that I would be willing to go to space. I have the utmost respect for those who do decide to do it, but I just don't know if it's for me. The danger is just a bit too high. Number 4 on this list is aliens. Aliens, although unlikely, need to be considered when determining whether or not to go to space or not. If there is a risk that we could run into aliens and in the process of doing so piss those aliens off, then that would really not be very good for any of us. There have been tons of stories about aliens and the possibility of them being out in the universe at this point. In fact, I think it's pretty much an accepted belief that if the universe is infinite, then there has to be life somewhere else in the universe. But it could be closer than you think. One famous story is that of the Knock. Tanya Sirohi writes, "First off, there's no sound in space. There's only vacuum. And this is precisely what makes this story a strange one. Back in 2003, astronaut Yang Liwei, the first to be sent into space by the Chinese space program, was sitting in his space shuttle when he reportedly heard a knock. He described it as someone knocking the body of the spaceship, just as knocking an iron bucket with a wooden hammer would sound. Apparently, he's not the only one to have experienced this. There were other Chinese astronauts between 2005 and 2008 who've reported hearing similar sounds. A lot of people have heard this story and credited it to being aliens. A lot of people have heard this story and credited it to being aliens that caused the sound. If that's the case, then it's something NASA really needs to consider if they ever want to go to space again. Number 3 on this list is space snakes. Now, I'm gonna be honest guys, this one is just kind of silly, but I honestly just wanted to throw it in here because it really does make for a good story. And let's face it, if this story is actually true and it's all real, then I also would think twice about making another mission to space as well. Tanya Sirohi says, retired NASA astronaut Dr. Story Musgrave has a lot to his credit. So it would be difficult to pass this off as a lie, but he claims he saw an 8-foot long white snake floating through space. It's not hard to imagine that this could have been a hose detached from the spaceship, but Musgrave, he remains adamant. So once again folks, I want to reiterate that this is a bit of a silly entry, but if we suspend our disbelief for just 1 second, then it gets pretty terrifying pretty quickly. If there is actually just a bunch of giant white snakes floating through space, then I don't know if there's actually a large enough sum of money that you could pay me to go and fly into that. Also, who knows what these things would even be capable of? Maybe they're super smart and we just have no idea. I, for one, do not want to be the person having to find that out. Number 2 on this list is Elon Musk. So I entitled this entry Elon Musk, but ultimately it's just billionaires in general at this point. For some reason, it's not enough for these guys with billions of dollars to just own some fancy cars and yachts. No, they need to have their own fancy rocket ships as well. And they've made it their mission to fly to space in some capacity and do it before all of the other billionaires do it. Well, guess what? This is good news for NASA. SpaceX was founded in 2002 by Elon Musk. Google says Space Exploration Technologies Corp. is an American spacecraft manufacturer, space launch provider, and a satellite communications corporation headquartered in Hawthorne, California. It was founded in 2002 by Elon Musk with the goal of reducing space transportation costs to enable the colonization of Mars. NASA is probably loving the sound of that last bit there. Reducing space transportation costs? At the end of the day, NASA's whole mission isn't to worry about costs and other things, it's research. They want to research space and learn more about it. If I'm NASA, then I'm looking over at Elon Musk and thinking that this guy might be a really nice guy to get close to. Let Elon Musk do all the work and fit the bill of going to space, and you can tag along for the ride and complete your mission of researching stuff along the way. If someone else is going to do all the legwork for me, then it honestly just makes sense that I sit back and strap in for the ride. Billionaires, for whatever reason, have decided that they want to take the reins on this one, and I think NASA is happy to let them. And number 1 on this list is money. Even NASA, one of the richest organizations in the world and a group that is tackling problems such as space travel, runs into money problems. At the end of the day, our society is built on the back of the mighty dollar, and if you don't have enough of said dollars, then you're not going to be able to do what you want to do. Every time NASA launches a space shuttle to go into space, literally every single time, that is going to cost $450 million. That's just one space shuttle going on one single mission. Now, $450 million is a lot of money, but to a big corporation, that could be considered chump change if you think about it. McDonald's, for instance, is thought to spend over $1 billion every year on advertising in the United States alone. That's just on advertising, let alone all the money they spend on the actual product and labor and transportation and everything that goes into making their business run. However, McDonald's makes a lot of money off of those advertisements. They pump the money into silly commercials and we pump our money into poorly made burgers. This sort of business model doesn't really translate to space travel though. At the end of the day, $450 million is nothing if that $450 million is being spent on an operation that could bring in $1 billion, let's say. But in this case, that $450 million isn't being spent on that. That money is being spent and then they aren't getting any of it back. There aren't any McDonald's in space and there isn't any willing customers to spend money on stuff up there. In fact, there really isn't anything there at all. Throughout history, people go where the money is. Usually, it doesn't even matter how dangerous things are. Mining for oil or coal was extremely dangerous back in the early days, but there was a lot of money in it and therefore people did it. There just simply is not a lot of money currently to be found in space. If, for instance, someone discovered a rare and valuable mineral or rock that's sitting on the moon and it was something that people would pay lots of money for, then I guarantee NASA would be up and running and sending tons of space shuttles to the moon. I think maybe the thing that's so unsettling about this is that we could be missing out on tons of human progress, but money is holding us back. Like maybe there are some really important things to be learned in space that we could be learning about right now if money wasn't a factor. Hopefully somebody is ready to fork over the big bucks soon and we can get some people back up in the air.
Number 5. The Great Attractor. The Great Attractor is a gravitational anomaly in space and the apparent central gravitational point of the Laniakea supercluster. The observed anomaly suggests a localized concentration of mass, millions of times more massive than the Milky Way. That's a lot of M's. It is inconveniently blurred by our own Milky Way galaxy view, lying just behind the zone of avoidance. Basically, we know it's there, but we can't really see it. Yet, in visible light wavelengths, the Great Attractor is difficult to observe. In fact, it will not be visible for another 100 million years until Earth will be on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy, allowing us to see past the galactic plane of matter. It's terrifying. It's not a black hole, but acts like one. Okay. With its discovery in the late 70s, the Milky Way actually moves through space after a series of velocity tests. Astrophysicists found that the Milky Way was moving towards the constellation of Centaurus at about 600 kilometers per second. Yeah. The discovery of cosmic microwave background dipoles were used to reflect the motion towards the Great Attractor, allowing us to initialize there is something really there. When first discovered, we had no way to see through the zone of avoidance, but while that region blocks much of the visible light beyond, the gas and dust anomalies block infrared and X-ray light as much as they can. As X-ray astronomy became more powerful, we could start to see objects around that part of the sky. And what they found was a large supercluster of galaxies in the area of the Great Attractor known as the Norma Cluster, a mass of about 1,000 trillions of our suns. That's thousands of galaxies in the same place. When we look at an even larger region of galaxies, we find that the local galaxies in the Great Attractor are moving towards something even larger, known as the Shapley supercluster. It contains more than 8,000 galaxies and has a mass of more than 10 million billion suns. That sounds made up. The Shapley supercluster is in fact the most massive galaxy cluster within a billion light years of us, and we and every galaxy in our corner of the universe are moving slowly towards it. Dude, I gotta sleep tonight, really? Number 4, black holes. Black holes, yeah, these are significantly less scary all of a sudden. Or are they? These regions in space where gravity is so strong that nothing can escape has been quite the hot topic these days. Half of the 2020 Nobel Prize in Physics was awarded to Roger Penrose for his mathematical work showing that black holes are an inescapable consequence of Einstein's theory of gravity. And of course, Andrea Ghez and Reinhard Genzel shared the other half for proving that a massive black hole sits in the center of our galaxy. Alright, I was almost not anxious for a second there. Black holes are terrifying for a couple reasons. If you fell into a black hole left over when a star died, you would be spaghetti. Yeah. Also, black holes are places where the laws of physics no longer exist. Reading this just reminds me we still know nothing, and we have iPhones. The first black hole confirmed was Cygnus X1, the brightest X-ray source in the Cygnus constellation. Since then, about 50 other black holes have been discovered in the systems. There are apparently 10 million that are expected to be scattered throughout the Milky Way galaxy alone. Last year, astronomers published the first ever picture of a black hole and its event horizon. A 7 billion solar mass Leviathan lays still in the M87 galaxy. It's over 1,000 times bigger than the black hole in our galaxy. These black holes are dark most of the time, but when their gravity pulls in nearby stars and gas, they pump out huge amounts of radiation. If you get too close to one of them, the enormous gravity will suck you in and time will seem to have stopped completely for you, just getting spaghettied for eternity. Yeah, that's horrifying. Number 3, the cosmic microwave background. The CMB, or famously known as simply the cold spot, is a region of the sky seen in microwaves that has been found to be unusually large and cold relative to the expected properties of the cosmic background radiation. The cold spot is approximately much colder than the average CMB temperature, and many theoretical explanations exist, including a so-called supervoid or great void that may exist outside of our galaxy. Such a void would be one of the largest structures in the observable universe. This would be an extremely large region of the universe containing a density of matter much smaller than the average density in space. A 2015 study shows a supervoid that has a radius of 1.8 billion light years across and is 3 billion light years away from our galaxy in the direction of the cold spot is likely associated with it. Although large voids are already known in the universe, a void would have to be exceptionally vast to explain being so cold. So it's dark, it's cold, and it's huge, and we have no idea what it is. Theories suggest it could be another universe beyond our own, caused by quantum entanglement. The problem with these theories is by standard cosmology, such a giant cosmic hole shouldn't exist. If the cold spot is in fact another universe merging with ours, then this provides the first evidence for a parallel universe. Could this be the long-lost dark energy astrophysicists talk about? Who knows, dude? Number 2, altered carbon. Preliminary results from NASA's twins study reveal that 7% of astronaut Scott Kelly's genetic expression, DNA, and genes did not return to baseline after his return to home to Earth 2 years ago. I'm sorry, what? The study looks at what happened to astronaut Kelly before, during, and after he spent exactly 1 year aboard the International Space Station through an extensive comparison with his identical twin, Mark Kelly, who remained on Earth. Kelly's newly genetic expression had in fact changed. But who was he now? Well, good news, he and Mark are still identical twins. Changes in gene expression are how the human body reacts to the environment around it. Kelly's transformation suggests long-term alterations related to at least 5 biological pathways and functions. Something's different. The preliminary results from this study on Kelly, now retired from NASA, were released in 2018's Workshop for NASA's Human Research. NASA published its first results, and the findings are a little nerve-wracking. To track physical changes caused by time and space, scientists measured Kelly's metabolites, cytokines, and proteins before, during, and after this mission. They learned that spaceflight is associated with oxygen deprivation stress, increased inflammation, and dramatic nutrient shifts that permanently affect gene expression and their makeup. The team focused on primarily chemical changes in RNA and DNA. 93% of Kelly's genetic expression stayed the same after re-entering our atmosphere. However, once he returned to Earth, several genes remained a little altered. Some of these, of course, are thought to be caused by the stresses of space travel itself, which is totally normal. Some, however, still have scientists scratching their heads. That's terrifying. And coming at the number 1 spot, Oumuamua. Oumuamua is the first interstellar object detected passing through the solar system. Formerly named 1-2017 U1, famously named Oumuamua, coming from the Hawaiian word scout, or roughly first distance traveler. As seen from the telescope at Haleakala Observatory in 2017 in Hawaii, discovered by Robert Wyrick using the Pan-STARRS telescope, it was about 33 million kilometers from Earth and heading away from the sun. And this is where it gets a little scary. The small object, only about a rugby field across and 10 rugby fields long, exhibited non-gravitational acceleration, turning away from the sun, potentially due to outgassing or a push from solar radiation. This thing came in fast, shot by us towards the sun, slowed down, and then changed its course. This so-called tumbling, shiny red anomaly moving fast through space is likely of an extrasolar origin. Yeah, that means it came from somewhere else. Came from another solar system. Oumuamua's path cannot be captured into a solar orbit, so it would eventually have to leave our solar system and continue into interstellar space at some point, leaving us with millions of questions. But we were too late to catch it. Its whereabouts are now completely unknown. By 2019, some astronomers concluded that Oumuamua is most likely a natural object like comet or a rock. Of course, a small number of astronomers suggested that Oumuamua is a product of alien technology, and in January 2022, researchers introduced Project Lyra, which proposed that a spacecraft could be launched from Earth and might actually catch up to Oumuamua in 26 years for close-up studies. Being the first known object of its type, people have a lot of questions. Originally classified as a comet, then classified as an asteroid. Either case, we have an interstellar object, people, that seems to move, speed up, and turn on its own. So what's moving this thing? Radiation pressure, solar winds, or possibly an energy source made from some of our highly intelligent neighbors? Either or, this thing is absolutely terrifying, and if you're not familiar with the work of Professor Avi Loeb of Harvard, who is the leading expert on this anomaly, I highly recommend you check him out. Well,